The response to this 20-cent fundraising has been unbelievable. So we're going to reopen Pilar next month. There's very few 4 million ounce type, stories out there with fully built mill that's in incredible condition, 4,500 tons a day. Just that mill alone would probably cost you $250 million to build right now. We went through the JR process last year. We reduced our debt from 60 million to 6. Go on to pilargold.com. Just fill in your name, your email, your number. Would love to give you a call.
Today we're having a chat with Jeremy Gray, CEO of Pilar Gold. And Jeremy, welcome back to the show. What a time to be restarting Pilar Gold.
Unbelievable, Stein. And since our last video we made 3 weeks together, the response to this 20-cent fundraising has been unbelievable. So we're going to reopen Pilar next month. And what a time, as you said, to reopen at $3,600 gold. Incredible.
Yeah, and before we start talking about those restarting plans, very exciting, perhaps we can give a short recap really what the Pilar Gold assets are all about.
Pilar Gold was built by Yamana Gold back in 2012, at the time for $250 million, and today would cost at least $500 US to replace today. It's 4 million ounces of resource, 3 large underground mines, of which we're going to restart the first one called Pilar. We have Tres Barracas, which is the big open pit, 2 further underground, which is Maria Lazara and Kayama. So that complex alone, we think will get to 80,000 ounces over the next 2 years. But the medium-term target is 40,000 ounces.
Yeah, and 40,000 ounces, that could already be a meanly profitable business, but we'll talk about it in just a second. 4 million ounces in your reserves, or at least indicated, inferred, and measured across those categories. That's a huge resource.
Oh, it's massive. And that's why I think we're a huge M&A target. Our phone's ringing hot, Stein. There's a lot of groups looking at us. And, at a 70 million valuation for this 20-cent round, that's peculiarly low. We're priced this to get this done quickly, and that's why the response has been amazing. But yeah, there's very few 4 million ounce type stories out there with fully built mill that's in incredible condition, 4,500 tons a day. Just that mill alone would probably cost you $250 million to build right now. And, 3 underground mines, huge open pit project, and Satao, obviously the darling, which is the high grade project further south. But yeah, just amazing setup. Pilar could not be in a better spot in the last, since it was built in 2012. We completely restructured the balance sheet. We went through the JR process last year. We reduced our debt from 60 million to 6. Unbelievable. Just the suppliers have been amazing. We're ready to restart next month, and we want to bring them back, bring employment back to Itapasi and the whole district. Also to Goiás Velho, our wonderful nearby town, the mayor of Goiás Velho. I just wanted to say thank you to him. So yeah, it's really important for us. We used to have 800 staff. We'll probably get back to 400. Our cost structure has been totally reduced. So we might actually be the lowest cost gold mine in Brazil next year.
That could be a very exciting future right there. You started talking about debt restructuring. Perhaps can you talk a bit more about that? You started highlighting some numbers there. Of course, you had the acquisition cost that you had to pay to Equinox in installments. You've been able to restructure that. Can you outline really what that means going forward for Pilar?
Yeah, well, basically last year was a shocking year for us. We were forced to shut in March of last year. We went through basically missed this whole upturn in the gold market just because we ran out of working capital. There was an issue underground that we fixed, but we didn't have the capital to keep the fleet going. So we went through a JR process, a very long and painful experience for everyone involved, but we reduced the debt from 60 to effectively 6 million. Now that 6 million, 23 million of that debt was to Equinox, and they've agreed that we can buy that debt out for 1.5 million, assuming we do exercise it this year. So that's a massive reduction, and that was the final payment due to Equinox. So we effectively bought a business that would cost 500 million at least for 20.5 million 4 years ago, and now I think we're going to have phenomenal couple of years ahead as a business.
Yeah, you recently wrote a newsletter to your email list where you hinted that you were previously cash flow positive at $2,000 an ounce. Of course, like you already outlined, the gold price is now significantly higher, so we could be looking at an incredibly profitable gold mine.
Yeah, and absolutely. Like I think our all-in sustaining cost before the mine closed was about $1,500. We just ran out of working capital, but today it's going to be around that level going forward, and we're not going to really ramp up very fast. We're going to take it very slowly. We're going to start with 1,000 ounces a month, 2,000 ounces a month, 3,000 ounces, build to 4,000. And remember, 1,000 ounces today is the same as 2,000 ounces 2 years ago in terms of what you get when you sell it. So the leverage is incredible. The cost structure is super tight. The Brazilian real is weak. I can't think of a better country in the world to operate a gold mine than in Brazil today.
You started talking about the restart plans. Really, perhaps you can talk about how this mine could ramp up back into production, how that production profile could look going forward.
Yeah, so our first mine, Pilar, which is 3 million ounces of resource, we've been pumping that out for 9 months. Unfortunately, it was flooded when we ran out of money, but that's nearly complete. Well, we're ready to mine next month. We then have Maria Lazara next door. That will need further pumping. And also Kiama, the high-grade underground satellite operation. That's a 3.5, 4 gram business. That will need pumping. But the main other focus for us is to basically get Tres Barrancas open pit permitted and also going into production in the next 12 months. That's a 400,000 ounce resource at current gold prices, right next to the mill, and a world class project by any stretch, sitting right next to the mill. No trucking, amazing, sort of addition to what has been up until next year has been an underground business for its whole life since it first started in 2012.
Yeah, that open pit project is literally right next door, incredibly close. When we were there just 1.5 years ago together with Lars, who helped me run this channel. And I believe you mentioned before we started recording that open pit project, Tres Barrancas, has an incredibly low stripping ratio, and it could be an incredibly profitable operation.
It might just be sub $1,000 all-in cost, I think, Stein, with a strip ratio of less than 3 initially. That will increase over time. But yeah, right now, it's a very profitable project and has a massive IRR. So all of these plans that we had, we should have done all of this back in 2022 and 23, but we just had some operational issues. We ran out of money. But now the market's $2,000 an ounce higher. You could make some significant profit. Even on the first gold pour, I think we'll make good money and slowly build it up, slowly increase the cash flow. But I tell you, the M&A scene is hotting up. There is a massive appetite for tier 2 producers. We're a tier 2 producer. Tier 1's are Equinox Gold and bigger guys. Lots of tier 2 guys, 50,000, 60,000 ounces, can't get the focus of the market. They're looking to add on a project or a big operational mine like ours. So I think M&A is going to be a huge theme in our industry now. It took a long time before that it really kicked off, but now with this market heading to 5,000 by Christmas, I really believe it's going to be 5,000 before Christmas. And you've heard me say that now for 6 months. This is not like just because I've seen the price this morning. So you're going to see a massive M&A frenzy in the market, and Pilar may well just be in the middle of all of that. We may eventually become part of another group, and I think that was also added an additional re-rating potential for shareholders in Pilar. So this 20-cent round is only valuing the company at only 70 million Canadian, which is a bit of a joke. I've got to be honest, when we set the price, we thought, let's get it done quickly, but that's the way we roll. We basically want to make our shareholders significant returns. 70 million valuation versus the cost to rebuild that today in Canadian dollars is probably 10 times that. So we want to get our shareholders set at a very nice valuation, return the mine back in production, and then get that huge re-rate from both the gold price and also the M&A. And this is not our first rodeo, as you know. We've done this with Tucano. We raised 70 million for Tucano. We bought Tucano at 3 cents in the dollar. We did it with Gold Road. We bought that at 2 cents in the dollar, went into production this week, a historic week for Gold Road, and also Liver Gold, the biggest gold mill in Europe. We bought that for probably 5 cents in the dollar. It's now going to be listed, going into production in the next couple of months. So, but Pilar is definitely probably the most exciting of our 4 gold companies. And I think the way we've set this up with this round, it probably has the highest upside. Stein, if you compare our nearest comparable company, which is Serabi Gold up the road from us in Brazil, they have a market cap of 350 million Canadian. We're valuing this round at just 70. So they're 5 times our valuation, but smaller resource than ourselves and a smaller mill. So we've priced this to give our shareholders significant return. And also we think Serabi Gold is an amazing company, don't get me wrong, but I just wanted to give you an idea. We're currently 5 times lower valuation than our nearest comp in Brazil.
And perhaps you can also talk a bit about how the financing is going, and perhaps also highlight how anyone watching could potentially reach out and participate.
Look, the markets have been phenomenal this last 2 weeks. The phone is ringing hot. We have a number of new investors coming on. We have over 1,200 investors in our 4 companies, over 400 in Pilar. If you'd like to get involved, click on the More button just under Stein's video. Go on to pilargold.com where you'll have that link. Just fill in your name, your email, your number. Would love to give you a call. I've got Max, Ed, and Eric and myself ready to give you a shout, to give you more understanding of what we are all about and why we think Pilar Gold is going to be a phenomenal success. So we expect to close this in the next week, and then we're going to turn her on. And boy, that's going to be an amazing historic moment for us. For a business, Stein, a year ago, many people wrote us off. You remember, don't you? They all wrote us off. They thought these guys will never come back. We restructured. The gold market went up $1,000, and suddenly you're back in the game. And the return profile for our shareholders is absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, Jeremy, so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Stein. You're the best, mate. Really appreciate all your support.